You think people respect you. You think they are on your side. You think the relationships you've built, the favors you've done, the effort you've put into being likable, you think all of that means something. You think you've earned goodwill. You haven't. The moment you started performing for other people's approval, you lost. Not just socially. Strategically. Fundamentally. You handed the controls of your life to people who will never tell you they have them. And right now, while you're reading the room, while you're calibrating your words, while you're managing how you come across, they are not doing the same for you. They are watching. Calculating. Filing away every weakness you volunteer. Here is the truth that nobody in your life will say to your face. Most people don't hate you because you've wronged them. They hate you because of what you represent to them. Because your presence reminds them of something they can't have, can't be, or can't admit. They hate the parts of you that are unresolved in themselves. They hate your potential more than your failures. And they will smile while they do it. Once you understand this, you cannot go back. The social world you've been navigating with good faith will never look the same. This is not a lesson in cynicism. This is a lesson in clarity. And clarity, in a world built on illusion, is the most dangerous thing you can possess. Stay with me. Because what follows will not comfort you. It will arm you. The invisible enemy is not the person who openly disrespects you. That one is easy to see. Easy to cut off. The real threat is the architecture of social dynamics that nobody teaches you, the unspoken game that runs beneath every conversation, every friendship, every professional relationship. The rules are ancient. They predate the internet, predate modern psychology, predate every self-help framework that's ever been sold to you. Most people are operating in this game completely unconsciously. They are reactive, emotional, driven by ego and fear and the desperate need to maintain their position in whatever small hierarchy they occupy. They don't plot against you in some calculated way. They don't need to. Human nature does it automatically. The average person, when they see someone rising, does not celebrate. They rationalize. They minimize. They find reasons why that person's success is undeserved, temporary, or built on something corrupt. It is not malice in the Hollywood sense. It is something more insidious. It is the quiet, automatic defense mechanism of a psyche that cannot afford to let you win without it meaning they've lost. Weak men gossip about those they cannot control. Weak people orbit those they secretly resent and wait for a moment of vulnerability. The social world rewards those who understand this and punishes, quietly, systematically, those who don't. You've been living in the second category. Today that changes. 500 years ago, Niccolo Machiavelli sat in forced exile and wrote a document that the powerful have used ever since, while teaching the powerless to condemn it. He understood something that makes modern people deeply uncomfortable. The world does not run on the rules people claim it runs on. It runs on the rules people actually follow when no one is watching. Morality is performed. Power is real. And the distance between those two things is where most people get destroyed. He wrote that it is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Not because fear is preferable in some abstract sense, but because love is conditional. Love depends on the other person's mood, their needs, their circumstances. Fear, or more precisely, the awareness of consequence, is reliable. It does not require you to be liked. History has never rewarded the man who needed approval to act. Every figure who has shaped the arc of civilization operated from a position of internal authority, not external validation. They made decisions that others condemned and later called visionary. They endured isolation that others called arrogance and later called discipline. Power has never, in any era, rewarded the supplicant. Remember that. What you are about to absorb will make you untouchable. Not invulnerable. No one is invulnerable. But untouchable in the way that matters, psychologically. Strategically. You will become impossible to manipulate through the levers that currently move you. You will become strategically superior in rooms where everyone else is operating on emotion. You will become emotionally disciplined in situations specifically designed to destabilize you. And you will become psychologically dominant, not through aggression, but through something far more powerful, the complete withdrawal of your need for external confirmation. You will never see people the same. After this, you cannot go back to the performance, the mask wearing, the calibrating, the endless, exhausting management of how you are perceived. After this, you stop auditioning. And when you stop auditioning, something remarkable happens. The people worth keeping step forward. And everyone else reveals exactly what they were. This changes everything. Let's begin. Number 1. You are hated for your potential, not your failures. Understand this at a cellular level. When someone undermines you, dismisses you, subtly discredits you in front of others, they're not responding to who you are right now. They are responding to who you could become. Your current failures don't threaten them. Your ceiling does. The psychology beneath this is precise. Human beings are wired for relative status. Not absolute achievement, relative positioning. It is not enough to do well. Others must not do better. This is not a character flaw in the people around you. It is evolutionary software running without their knowledge or consent. They don't know they're doing it. That is exactly what makes it dangerous. Think about the last time you shared a goal with someone close to you. Recall the exact fraction of a second before they responded, the micropause, the recalibration, the slight shift in their expression. That pause was the calculation. What does this mean for me? Where does this put them relative to me? How do I respond in a way that keeps my position intact? Most of them won't sabotage you openly. They are subtler than that. They will offer encouragement threaded with doubt. They will ask questions that plant uncertainty. They will cite examples of people who tried and failed. They will perform support while quietly hoping you stay exactly where you are because where you are doesn't threaten them. The power reframe is this: the resistance you feel from those around you is a calibration tool. The more aggressively someone minimizes your direction, the more accurately they are pointing at your leverage. They don't resist what doesn't matter. They resist what does. Let them. Move anyway. Move silently. Comment: I move in silence. Number 2. Every time you explain yourself, you lose status. This is one of the most socially destructive habits that no one identifies as destructive, because it looks like honesty. It looks like transparency. It feels like integrity. And it is costing you everything. When you explain your decisions to people who did not ask and have no authority over you, you are unconsciously submitting to their judgment. You are treating their opinion as a court that has jurisdiction over your choices. You are positioning yourself as a defendant when no trial has been called. The psychological mechanism is this: explanation signals doubt. Not always consciously, but at a level below conscious processing, when someone offers an unsolicited justification, the listener's brain registers it as a tell. Something to prove. Something to defend. And wherever there is something to defend, there is a weakness to exploit. Watch a powerful person navigate a room. Watch how they answer questions. They are selective. They offer context when it serves them. They withhold it when it doesn't. They do not narrate their inner experience to people who have not earned access to it. They do not apologize for their positioning. They do not explain their ambition. They simply move. You are in a social environment right now where people are reading you constantly. Every voluntary disclosure is a chip placed on the table. Every explanation is a door you open that you cannot close. Every justification is an admission that you believe you require their approval to proceed. The command is simple. Stop explaining. Make the decision. Execute. If someone asks, you can choose to answer. But you choose. From authority. Not from anxiety. Burn this into your mind. Silence is not absence. In the right context, silence is the loudest statement in the room. Number 3. The people closest to you have the most to gain from your stagnation. This is the one that cuts the deepest, and most people will never let themselves see it fully because the implications are too destabilizing. The people in your immediate social circle, friends, family, close colleagues, have built a version of you in their minds. That version is static. It is the version that fits their narrative, serves their emotional needs, and occupies a specific position in their hierarchy. When you start to change, when you start to grow, to harden, to elevate, that version is threatened. The threat is not about you. It is about them. If you become more than what they've known you as, they have to update their internal model. They have to acknowledge that they may have underestimated you. They may have to reckon with why they didn't change while you did. And that reckoning is painful in a way that most people will redirect outward rather than sit with. They will call your evolution arrogance. They will call your discipline coldness. They will call your new silence distance. They will ask what happened to you, as if growth is a symptom of disease rather than evidence of survival. There is a version of you that these people need to remain small. They will not say this. They will express it through subtle resistance, through jokes that minimize, through concern that is actually surveillance, through nostalgia that is actually an anchor. The power reframe, the discomfort of the people around you when you begin to change is directional data. Their discomfort is not your obligation. It is your compass. You are not responsible for managing other people's relationship to your potential. Write that down. Number 4, your likability has been used as a leash. Think about how much energy you have invested in being easy to be around, being agreeable, being the person who smooths tension, absorbs conflict, makes the room comfortable. Think about how many times you swallowed an opinion, softened a response, pre-apologized for taking up space. Now ask yourself, what did you get for it? The social contract most people operate under says that if you are likable, you will be liked in return. If you are generous, generosity will come back. If you make yourself easy to deal with, people will deal with you well. This contract is a fiction. Not because people are universally malicious, but because likability without backbone is not respected. It is consumed. The psychology of manipulation, at its most basic level, targets the person most invested in maintaining relational harmony. Because that person will sacrifice the most to preserve it. They will accept less. They will excuse more. They will bend before they will break the comfort of the room. You have been bending. And the room has been adjusting to a version of you that has no edges, no weight, no resistance. And something without resistance cannot be taken seriously. It can only be used. This is not an argument for aggression. Aggression is the overcorrection of the newly awakened, and it is just as readable as submission. The argument is for presence, for the kind of solid, immovable psychological centeredness that makes it clear, without announcement, without performance, that there is a version of treatment you will simply not accept. Not because you're angry. Because you've decided. Emotional escalation, the moment you stop prioritizing how others experience you and start prioritizing who you are becoming, that is the moment the social calculus around you shifts. People begin to treat you differently. Not because you demanded it. Because you stopped accepting less. Command. Stop making yourself easy to discard. Number 5. Most people's loyalty is conditional on your usefulness. This is the Machiavellian truth that the title promised, and here it is, unobscured. Loyalty, the kind you've believed in, the kind you've extended to others, the kind you've built your social world around, is almost universally transactional at its foundation. This does not mean that genuine human connection doesn't exist. It exists. But it is rarer than you have been assuming, and it does not look the way it is typically presented. The structure of most social relationships follows a simple implicit contract. I will support you as long as doing so costs me less than it returns. As long as you make me feel good about myself. As long as your proximity benefits my position. As long as you are not a challenge to my self-concept. As long as you need me enough to stay close, but not so little that you might leave. This is not cynicism. This is an accurate description of how most human beings, operating without self-awareness, manage their social resources. It is not evil. It is biological. It is the logic of organisms that evolved in competitive social environments where alliance and abandonment were matters of survival. What this means practically, the people who are there for you are often there for a version of you that remains within a range they can manage. Push beyond that range, grow beyond what they can encompass, withdraw from what they depended on, or simply change in ways that restructure the dynamic, and you will see the limits of that loyalty in real time. This is not a reason for bitterness. Bitterness is the response of someone who expected a different world and is angry it isn't delivering. That is a position of weakness. The strategic response is selection. You stop investing equally in all relationships and begin investing heavily in the few where the loyalty is demonstrated, not claimed. Where the person has stood near you when proximity was costly. Where they told you an uncomfortable truth rather than a comfortable lie. Everyone else? They get what they give. No more. If this resonates, subscribe. What follows is the final architecture. Number 6. The version of you that seeks approval will never be respected. Let that sit. Not liked, respected. You can be liked and completely dismissed. You can be popular and entirely powerless. Likability and respect are not on the same axis. One is granted freely to whoever is pleasant. The other is earned through demonstration of something that cannot be performed, the genuine willingness to stand alone. Respect, real respect, the kind that persists when you leave the room, is reserved for the person who has drawn a line and held it under pressure. Who has said no when yes would have been easier. Who has walked away from something others would have begged to keep. Who has remained calm in environments designed to make them break. These are not performances. And they cannot be faked for long. People are exquisitely sensitive to the difference between someone who is performing strength and someone who actually has it. The performance produces temporary compliance. The real thing produces durable respect. The version of you that needs the room's approval will contort itself endlessly trying to earn something that can only be taken. The room does not give respect to the person asking for it. It gives it, involuntarily, sometimes resentfully, to the person who has made it clear they do not need it. This is the last lesson before the transformation completes. And it requires something most people are not willing to do. The version of you that has been reading this, nodding, recognizing, cataloging the ways you've been played, that version is not who you are becoming. That version must die. I don't mean this as metaphor to be consumed and forgotten. I mean it as instruction. The self that learned to shrink in order to be accepted. The self that explained itself to people who didn't deserve the access. The self that bent toward approval like a plant toward light, dependent, directional, predictable. That version has served its purpose. It got you here. It cannot take you further. You execute it now. Not with anger. Anger is still attachment. You execute it with the cold, surgical clarity of someone who has seen the mechanism and decided they are no longer willing to be moved by it. You stop performing. You stop justifying. You stop auditioning. The old version of you is the version that believed the room's opinion was load-bearing. That without their approval, something essential would collapse. That being misunderstood was a threat rather than a selection mechanism. That version operated from scarcity, of status, of connection, of validation. That version is obsolete. What emerges in its place is not hardness for its own sake. It is not coldness. It is not the performance of dominance that insecure men confuse for actual power. What emerges is precision. The ability to move through a social world with full awareness of its architecture, uncontrolled by it. To choose where you place your energy, your trust, your presence, not from fear, not from habit, not from the desperate arithmetic of approval. You stop asking for permission to be who you are. You stop waiting for someone to recognize your value before you act on it. You stop managing the discomfort of people who are threatened by your direction. The skin you are shedding was never yours to keep. It was the accumulation of other people's expectations, handed to you early and carried so long it started to feel like identity. It is not. It is weight. And you are leaving it. This is who you are now. You are the one who sees the game and chooses not to be moved by it. You are the one who no longer trades the truth of who you are for the temporary comfort of being accepted. You are the one who has looked at the social world, its loyalty calculations, its conditional affections, its quiet resentments, and decided that none of it has authority over your direction. You move with intention. You speak with precision. You invest selectively and withdraw completely when the investment is not returned. You do not perform your strength. You do not announce your evolution. You do not need the room to acknowledge what you're becoming. The most dangerous person in any environment is not the loudest. It is the one who has nothing to prove. That is you, now. Comment: I have nothing to prove.